Are you a sports enthusiast who is deeply devoted to keeping up with the latest and greatest with your favorite sports teams as it relates to their latest apparel? Or perhaps you're a sponsor or a partner with a sports team who is looking for a better return on your investment? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then this podcast is for you, and you may find it to be a wise decision to stick around. FanSaves is a mobile app which gives users discounts and deals from sponsors and affiliated brands of your favorite sports teams, organizations, chambers of commerce, schools, and media. Chris McCarthy is the co-founder and chief operating officer at FanSaves, and he joined me this week to discuss how the app continues to bring smiles to sports enthusiasts and sponsors alike. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. We teed off our conversation by McCarthy providing a more in-depth review of just how the app works and the benefits it provides to its users.
Yeah, that was a great overview. You're hired. It all started back in 2017. My co-founder Shannon and I, we were managing the sales and marketing for two minor professional hockey teams. And in the summertime, we were out selling sponsorship, but we kept running into the same problem where business owners wanted more out of their sponsorship. And they didn't think they were going to get enough out of the traditional inventory that we were selling. And instead, what they wanted was something that could digitally activate our fans, collect customer analytics, and track return on investment. And we didn't have anything like that. So we left a lot of deals on the table. And we got so tired of the problem that we created the solution. So I'll give you a little overview of FanSaves. We're a digital platform that offers fans discounts and deals from the sponsors of their favorite teams and organizations. And what was really interesting right off the hop was all of these different verticals started to emerge. Like, we set out to solve this problem in sports sponsorship, but chambers of commerce, colleges and universities, events, festivals, esports teams, all of these other verticals that started to emerge with the same problem of not being able to justify ROI to their partners. So we, set out on this mission to solve this problem in sports sponsorship, and it's exploded into all these other verticals, which is really exciting.
Well, being an entrepreneur in the mobile app space comes with many peaks and valleys. Thus, I asked McCarthy to chronicle the ups, the downs, and everything in between during his experience running FanSaves. And meanwhile, the app itself allows organizations to increase their sponsorship, engagement, and give sponsors and organizations alike an opportunity to track their ROI and also receive customer analytics in a more effective manner. I asked McCarthy to explain it all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely been a roller coaster. Anyone that started a business or a startup can attest there's good days, bad days, but it's totally all worth it in the end. So yeah, definitely. The first question I like to ask people when I meet them is, who is your favorite professional sports team? And I follow up that question with, how many sponsors of that team can you name? We did a survey and we found that 90% of sports fans cannot name more than 5 of their favorite team sponsors. This is a huge problem. Just in the big four sports in North America alone, $4.25 billion is spent on is spent by brands on sports sponsorship. Yet 90% of fans cannot even recall 5 of their favorite team sponsors. So with FanSaves, we're incentivizing the fan to engage with the team partners through discounts and deals, while allowing both the teams and sponsors to be able to track all of that engagement through their back-end dashboard. So being able to provide demographics about the users redeeming deals, these are things that you can't really get from traditional sponsorship inventory. You think of like the logo on the floor of a basketball court, or a brand logo on the side of the boards, or on a sign in the stadium. How does that brand know who's seeing that advertising and coming back into their establishment because of it? There's no real way of knowing currently. Brands are able to look at metrics like impressions and eyeballs during a broadcast and things of that nature, but those are really just vanity metrics. And what we're really doing here at FanSaves is tracking that conversion at the point of purchase and providing these brands with true ROI.
Fantastic. And Chris, I have to tell you, I'm a long-suffering and die-hard Detroit Lions fan. So this past Sunday was a rough Sunday for me, buddy, but that's okay. Sometimes during a Lions season, the sponsors are the only bright spot in the season, buddy, but that's okay.
That's okay. They'll bounce back, I'm sure.
So, Chris, tell me, I'm also curious to get your opinion on if anyone's looking for sponsorships or partnerships to grow their brand. I'm curious to get your view on some advice you would give them in order to accomplish that goal.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was selling sponsorship, I went out and looked for brands that could align with the values of our team. So I'll give you a real life example. When I was managing the sales and marketing for the Watertown Wolves, we went into the local hospital, Samaritan Hospital it was called, and we pitched them on a sponsorship opportunity to be the official hospital and take care of all of our medical. But part of the sponsorship was they got to be title sponsors of feature nights. So each feature night had different charities that we had tied to each night. So breast cancer was one of them. I think Crohn's and colitis was one of them. Another one was for prostate cancer. So each night we had a different theme, and we had a different charity that benefited from things like group ticket sales, the Chuck a Puck. So being able to bring charitable aspects to the hospital, and be able to tie that into our sponsorship, I think was really important to be able to close a big deal like that, and aligning values. And then another thing that I would say, a really cool tool, is called Sponsor United. You can get like a monthly subscription, and basically you get access to the full spectrum of sponsorship. So you can go on, you can choose a brand, and you can see teams that they've sponsored in the past or that they're currently sponsored with, and the types of activations or the types of sponsorship inventory that they've acquired through that sponsorship. So by doing that, you can see the brands that would sponsor your type of organization, and you can also view from the team's perspective and the partners they have. So that's just a really cool tool that I like to use. And the other tip of advice that I would say is try to find brands that can align with your values.
Absolutely. You want unified messaging in brands, don't you, Chris?
Absolutely, for sure. And that's what really resonates with the fans. It's great to have a partnership. I'm talking in like the sports vertical here. If a sponsor aligns themselves with the team and their values align, you want to be able to pass that alignment on, those values, to the fans who really resonate with.
Absolutely. And Chris, I know that you're currently working with over 40 organizations across North America, offering discounts and deals for over 350 national and local brands. So tell me, what's the plan for the app in terms of expansion moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're well over that 40 team mark across North America now, and we actually have over 550 brands that are offering discounts and deals on the platform, from, those national brands that you would recognize, the Pizza Huts, the Subways of the world, right down to the small mom and pop shops in those communities. So answering your question, we have a number of different growth strategies that we're utilizing moving forward to grow our user base of teams, but also the fans that are creating accounts and being users on the platform. So some of them include like our advisory board. We've assembled a really strong, diverse advisory board of 10. Each of these advisors have their own network within the sports industry and are making introductions to close connections of theirs, which is really important for us. We're a part of 3 different accelerators currently, one in Tel Aviv, one in Tampa Bay, Florida, and one actually here in Ottawa, Canada. So each one of those accelerators have their own industry connections that they're able to introduce us to and provide us with resources. In addition to that, our content marketing strategy, we built a really strong brand here at FanSaves, and my co-founder Shannon and I are both also very active on LinkedIn, which provides a lot of opportunities for us. A couple other strategic pilots, like getting that first team in each league and being able to prove to them and build testimonials and case studies to bring to other teams in those leagues, as well as strategic partnerships with other brands outside of sports. We just partnered with 2 awesome companies. One's called Vozzy, they're a mass texting platform, and another one is called Dash Auction. So we're working together to grow our customer base and be able to link to each other's platforms. And you know what? To date, it's been founder-led sales, and we just hired a VP of sales. So we're super excited to take the chains off him and let him run. And we're super excited about the potential he has as well.
Well, congratulations on the advancement of the company. And I have to tell you, Chris, I'm calling in this afternoon from Windsor, so we're both Canadian. So
nice.
we have that in common, buddy.
Love hearing it.
So tell me, since you're there in Ottawa, Bud, what's the best part for you about being Canadian? I'm curious.
Wow, the best part about being Canadian. I just spent a month in Florida, between Florida and California. So actually 5 different cities in just under a month. And you know what? 5 amazing places. I went to school in upstate New York, so spent a lot of time not only in school but playing minor pro hockey in the States. And it's just always nice to come back home. I feel really privileged and lucky to be Canadian and have those Canadian values. A lot of really cool things that we were able to see in the States while we were there, and it's just a different culture overall in general. So I mean, coming back home, I'm super grateful. Canada has created so many opportunities for me as a child and as an adult, and they've also been, the government in general has been really supportive of help growing our business. So I can't say enough of good things about Canada, and I'm definitely a super proud Canadian.
Absolutely. And Chris, I'm also curious to ask you about your own personal motivations in terms of what gets you up in the morning and excited to keep working on FanSaves, buddy. Where does your personal motivation come from?
Yeah, I mean, we're currently a team of 9. So, Gary Vee is a strong proponent of you work for your employees don't work for you. So I wake up every morning with that mindset. I want the team to be successful. Having played 7 years of minor pro hockey and my whole life pretty much dedicated to hockey, a lot of those values are instilled in me, right? Leadership, communication, things like that. So just being able to wake up in the morning and lead our team is really something that I'm passionate about. It's an incredible journey being a founder. It's super rewarding, and it can be super difficult on some days. I've got an incredible co-founder and life partner and my co-founder Shannon. So together, we go to bed talking about the business, we wake up talking about the business. We're both so passionate about the problem that we're solving that we love it. It's our baby. So I would say those are 2 things.
And in terms of being a sports enthusiast yourself, I'm also wondering where your sports loyalties lie, buddy, as a sports
Yeah,
fan.
definitely. Yeah, big time. Big Raptors fan in the NBA, big Toronto Blue Jays fan. Hope they make the wild card. And I'm a big Ottawa Senators fan. They've gone through a few tough years, but they've got a good young team this year. So super excited for those. Those are my favorite three teams. And um, yeah, being Canadian, like and being from Ottawa, you got to rep the Senators. So those are my three.
Absolutely, and it's good to see that Toronto is back playing baseball on this side of the border, isn't it?
Absolutely. It felt so weird watching them play in Florida and then Buffalo. And so it's really nice to see them back home. And with the season that they had, the fans were the ones that really missed out. But now they're back in Toronto. I think it's a really exciting time for the city as they make a push for the playoffs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Chris, tell me outside of work, what do you like doing for fun, buddy?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be super stereotypical here, Canadian. But in the winter time, we have a river that runs through our backyard. We live out in the country on the border between Ontario and New York. So this river freezes over so perfectly. And every morning I get out there and I kind of snow blow off, a 200-foot section, and then I go out and skate in the morning, and it kind of like clears my head. It's my happy place, kind of like gets me, ready for the day and a clear mind space. So that's like my favorite thing to do in the winter personally. And then in the summer and spring, I'm actually a huge green thumb. I love like plants. I love like growing veggies. And as I mentioned, we live out here in the country. We've got all kinds of really cool trees and plants. And I just enjoy kind of taking care of them and watching them grow. They're our veggie babies, as Shannon and I like to call them, because we don't have kids yet.
Absolutely, and I tell you, your winter answer was purely Canadian answer, so that was good, Chris. I'm proud of that answer, buddy.
I'm staying on brand.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to know all about your podcast too, buddy. I know that you host a podcast, so I'm wondering if you can tell me about the startup podcast and what it is all about, bud.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. I appreciate it. Shannon and I were actually the co-hosts of the Living the Startup podcast, as you mentioned. It's something that we had wanted to do for a while. But when the pandemic hit, we got that opportunity, and we launched our podcast. So we're over 60 episodes in now. We speak to other founders or business owners, and we talk about life behind the brand and the startup journey, the wins, the losses, and everything in between. So what it's done for us is, helped us with content marketing when there wasn't a ton happening during the pandemic with, teams shutting down their seasons, businesses were closed, fans were not shopping for discounts and deals. Like we were like, okay, what do we do? So we created this podcast as a way to connect with other entrepreneurs and create content around startup life. And we got picked up by Staples Canada as a sponsor to sponsor the podcast. So that gave it a lot of credibility and a nice boost. It's something that Shannon and I both enjoy doing, speaking to other founders and, talking about startup life. So it's also a really great connector. Sometimes you meet people in the startup industry or other founders that, you can't really help each other. You're just in two different industries, or, your networks don't kind of mesh. So it's nice to be able to speak to other people from all walks of life that have done something that you've done yourself, and kind of talk about it.
Yeah, Chris, I actually started this podcast during the pandemic. I was going to start a job, and then my contract got suspended because of COVID. So I had some extra time. So we started this podcast in May of last year, and we're already over 320 episodes. So there you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so absolutely. And I'm also curious to get your thoughts on diversity and entrepreneurship. And what I mean by that, Chris, is I do a lot of work with folks with disabilities in terms of equal employment for folks with disabilities. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on the importance of inclusion when it comes to folks with disabilities in the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak for FanSaves. We're an equal opportunity company. We're a women-led company. 50% of our staff is women. 30% of our advisory board are made up of women. We do have an employee that's hearing impaired, legally deaf. He actually plays for the National Deaf Olympics hockey team, which is really cool. So, when we're hiring, we're definitely looking for the best candidate, but really we're looking to diversify our team. We know that diversity is super key to bring other opinions and perspectives to the table. And it's really paid off so far with that strategy for us. Shannon, our co-founder, is like a huge advocate for women in business and minority founders. She often speaks on panels and is asked to give keynotes about her experience as a women founder in a male-dominated industry such as sports, but even further so sports tech. There's very, very few women founders in sports tech. So, she's often recognized for her efforts, but she's an incredible role model for other women that, have ideas, not only in the sports or sports tech space, but just in general to kind of act on them. And, I think there's more opportunities out there than ever for women entrepreneurs, but I think there's still a long way to go and kind of like, leveling the playing field and giving everyone the same shot at the same starting line. So diversity, equality, and inclusion across the board, super important. It's something we take really seriously here at FanSaves.
Yeah, Chris, I was born with the spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy, and I lived my life through the saying that inclusion is the gateway to independence. So I really want to commend you and thank you for the bridges of opportunity that you've given to folks with different abilities. It's most appreciated.
Absolutely. We're super proud of the team that we've assembled so far. And, it's incredible to sit down and have conversations with people like yourself that are not bound by any limits and are doing incredible things. So thank you for being an advocate.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, I'm also curious, since you're purely Canadian, I'm wondering what's your favorite Canadian food, and if you have a favorite Canadian beer as well.
Put me on the spot with that one. Oh, favorite Canadian beer. Steam Whistle. I know it's from the Toronto area. That's a good one. Usually when I lived in the States so long, so I was poisoned by the American beer in the sense that, it's what I drank a lot in the States. But food wise, that's a tough one too. Obviously, I can't not say I'm a poutine fan. But what I love about Canada is that there's so many different cultures and so much different cuisine here in Canada that I don't even think of it as like Canadian. Like I love shawarmas. I love, Asian and Thai food. Like for me, I'm a big foodie. So that's a really tough question for me to answer.
That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with diversity of thought when it comes to food, right?
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of what's for dinner tonight. Now you got me thinking about it.
Of course. Now tell me, Chris, my final question for you this afternoon is I'm wondering if you've given any thought to your personal or professional legacy and how you might want that to be defined.
Yeah, like a lot of the years I played hockey, I was, a leader on the team. I was, the captain or assistant captain for a lot of those years. So leadership is something that's really important to me. I hope that, and I know that Shannon and I, we lead our team well, but being remembered as like a leader, not just in business, but like for, a leader in, diversity, a leader in all aspects of life. Someone that takes the time to help others. I make it a mandate, a part of my commitment, my calendar to open it up to other founders who are just starting out. I have a couple actually today that I'm just answering questions and kind of providing my experience and advice and in hopes of being able to help them on their journey. So that's something that's really important to me, and being known as a connector. I think just making introductions to other people that could help further each other's missions. I'm a big believer in that, and being able to support other people through my own network. So being remembered as a leader, someone that makes time for others, and someone that is a connector are three things that I hope that I'm remembered for when I'm long gone.
Yeah, of course, I always say that life is a constant game of connection, whether you're connecting for yourself or for other people. So I can totally relate to you in that regard. And tell me, Chris, finally, if people want to get connected with FanSaves or you personally, what's the best way they can accomplish that goal?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn, so definitely connect with me on LinkedIn and shoot me a message. We're also on all the other social channels, but for FanSaves, definitely check us out on LinkedIn. You can go to our website as well, www.fansaves.com. Yeah, create a free account and check out all the brands that are offering discounts and deals.
Fantastic. Well, Chris, from one sports enthusiast to another, and from one Canadian to another, I want to thank you for your time, energy, and efforts on my behalf. They're most appreciated, buddy. And I want to thank you for being here this afternoon.
Right back at you. It's been a pleasure being here with you today, Kevin, and all the best, buddy.